Hey, it's Thomas Mulready from Cool Cleveland. We are here at AXPONA 2023, and we're here with the legend, the one, the only, Michael Fremer. Now, tell me who you're affiliated with this year, please.
Okay, so I am the editor of trackingangle.com, which is a website that I started with my two partners who are here, and it's going great. I'm so excited by this website. I've got 12 great writers writing for me.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I've got writers.
That's been around for a while.
The website?
Yeah.
We started it in October.
Okay.
So not that long.
Okay.
And I've got 12 great guys writing for me. I've gotten them from all over the world, and young and old. It's phenomenal. And I'm writing for the Absolute Sound, which is where I started my writing career in high-end audio. I started at the Absolute Sound in 1986.
Wow. Some of us weren't even born back then.
I was 4.
I know. You were young.
Precocious.
You were a young man. You were. You're looking good, Michael.
Thank you.
You really are. I hope you're feeling good.
I feel good.
This is the question of the year. You know, we pick a different theme every year.
Yes.
We decided to pick a tough one this year.
Okay.
Diversity in the high-end audio industry, age, gender, race.
Yeah.
Or lack thereof. Your comments.
Well, there's always this talk about, oh, it's a bunch of old white men. But it really isn't. Am I supposed to walk around with you? So I get dizzy, and by the end of it, I don't know what I'm talking about. No, look, the hi-fi industry is like a lot of other industries. It is basically male-dominated, but you have Ivana Manley, who owns a big hi-fi company. There are many, you have Angela Cardis. You have many women in this business, actually. And as far as who comes to the shows, mostly men. If you want to talk about the men and women divide, yeah, it's a guy's thing. But a lot more women come now than used to come. And if you go overseas, like if you go to Poland, to the Polish hi-fi show, it's much more of a family affair. And they come with the kids and the mothers and the fathers, and it's very open to that. It's different here in America. We're kind of culturally deprived. You know, you land in Warsaw, the airport is named after Chopin. It's the Chopin Airport. If we named an airport after Chopin, and Americans would go, "Hey, who's this chopping guy? And what is he chopping?" I mean, unfortunately, that's what we have.
But the Munich Hi-Fi show as well, I heard, is very diverse, family-oriented.
Yes, absolutely.
So what are we doing wrong here then in this country or in this industry
Let's go racially.
Yes.
A lot of black people into hi-fi. A lot. You'll see them here, especially in Chicago.
Okay.
And Asians of every stripe are at the show, and also well represented in the business.
Yes.
So and in Japan it's huge. In South Korea it's huge.
So are you
North
saying...
Korea, not so much. It's a market we have to open in North Korea, but not yet. So it's more diverse than people give it credit for.
Okay.
So
are you saying there's no problem?
No. Is there a problem? It's not an institutional problem. It's not like someone is saying we're going to have a quota on how many people from whatever ethnicity can be in the business. Not like that. It's a matter of who's interested in it, And so to get more women in, it's just, there's women in engineering. There's a lot of women that are engineers and mastering engineers. And there's an organization of women that's fostering that whole thing. You know about that?
That's what I was going to get to.
Yeah,
what could the industry be doing to attract more women, more people of color, younger people? I mean, if they don't attract younger people, we're going to go off a cliff, right?
I think younger people are. You go to the headphone part of the show.
Sure.
It's all young people because that's the opening salvo of this whole thing. Headphones and vinyl is what has gotten young people into it. We have to do a lot to promote that, to make them more interested in this hobby, and that takes a reach out. Now, how do you reach out? I mean, David Chesky from Chesky. So David Chesky, like 20 years ago, says, Fremer, you should get a rider truck, put a system in a rider truck, and travel all over the country, and go to the music departments of the schools, and set up a system and talk to people about hi-fi. That's great, David. Who's paying me? There's nobody to pay me. I've tried that. It doesn't work. But, the business is in much better shape than people say. You'll see this show's going to be very, very crowded, I promise you. And all around the world, hi-fi and good music go together, and people love it.
I just want to push back a little, Michael, because now you're the expert. You've been around for many years.
Yes.
And you know who comes to your site, you know who comes to read your articles, you know the demographics.
Yeah.
So I just want to address the fact that there's an issue there. And what should we be doing about it? What are some people doing about it? Have you seen some moves in the industry?
I don't know what the industry can really do about it. I really don't. I know what you can do is have the stores, whatever their retailers exist, have them open to women. Maybe they should have a women's night. That would be a good thing. But then they have to find a way to reach out to the women. Hey.
I don't want to interrupt your video.
Right.
You've already done that. You've already interrupted the
In
video.
that case, let's photobomb it.
Awesome.
Thanks a lot. Okay, see you later.
We'll see you there.
You will see
All
inside.
right.
So, I think that how much reach out can you really do? I don't know, where would you go? I think there should be a reach out to schools, frankly. And I did that when I lived in Glen Rock, New Jersey. I went to the high school, music department. I said, I need an intern to work for me. And I got a couple of interns. One was this kid, this junior in high school. He went on to become an engineer in Nashville with a very good reputation. And last time I spoke to him, he said, the time I spent in your listening room learning about good music and good sound has helped me get my career going, which was great.
So you really did adopt a young man and brought him into the industry, right?
Well, and the engineering side of it. And then I had a girl come in, and my wife was not happy about that. How's your intern? I said, honey, believe me, nothing is, she's my intern, she's helping me, but okay, if you say so. But anyway, no, but I've mentored a lot of young people, and it comes back to you 10 times over. Like this, I've got a kid writing for me. He was 12 when he started writing for me. Now he's 17, and he's a great writer.
Right.
Malachi Liu is a great writer. He reviewed the Bob Dylan, the last Bob Dylan.
I saw that.
Did you read that?
It's like
fantastic.
I couldn't believe his age because he's so mature.
And then there's another kid. Well, he's not a kid anymore. He's 24 now. Who I met when he was 11 online. He was interested in hi-fi, and I gave him my time. I spent my time, and I answered his questions. So now he's a fanatic. He works at a television station, and now he's a fanatical old gear collector. He loves old hi-fi. He wrote a story for me that I'm going to publish tonight about the history of James B. Lansing and James B. Lansing.
JBL.
Yeah, he committed suicide, James B. Lansing.
Wow.
But it's a whole story of this iconic loudspeaker that's supposed to not exist. There's only 3 in the world. And he found one and he restored it. I mean, it's an amazing story. And I'm publishing it tonight because I felt this is a hi-fi show. What better way to start the hi-fi coverage than this fantastic story about this legendary speaker that there are only 3 in the world of, and he found one. It's a great story.
So you're seeing young people, you're seeing some women, especially overseas.
Yeah.
I just keep thinking they're doing something we're not doing. They're making it more of a family event, family affair, including buying the equipment, enjoying the equipment at home, right?
But it's not like it's being made into that. It's just the culture. The culture in Europe is different than here. I don't know how you get people to come to this show. Well, the advertising for shows is very difficult in Chicago. Chicago's a big city, and there should be a way to get to the television stations and the radio stations, and they don't do that. I would be happy to come do that kind of thing because I'm good at that kind of thing. I'd be happy to come into town and do that, but they don't do it for some reason.
There's thousands of people here. They're bigger than ever this year.
Well, the show's going to be big, and I think the attendance will be great.
Yeah.
And I think the vinyl thing has really captured the imagination of a lot of young people.
That I've got to give you credit for, and the fact that young people picked up on it.
Yeah.
What is your explanation for that? Because you were just kind of hanging in there from the beginning, and a lot of people still have their collections. But what about the young people who came along?
Right. I said, Joe Harley, the tone poet, the producer, we used to sit around and say, if we could only get kids to hear it, they'd want it. They would want this thing, and now kids hear it. And if one kid picks up on it, and friends come over, and they sit and they play records, and they look at the jackets, and it's a social thing, right? And it sounds fantastic. And they go crate digging, and they find all these old. They can buy 10 records for $1, beat up records, and then play them and find things they like.
It's something they can touch.
That's
it's
right.
not an intangible that they're
It
downloading.
doesn't disappear.
Right.
When the streaming company goes away, you lose it. You know what else is going on now? You stream and you find something you really like, so you put it in your your mailbox,
your favorites or
whatever it is. So it shows up on your Roon or wherever it is as you owning it, but you don't really own it. As long as you subscribe, you own it. Okay. Then the company comes along and says, we have a better mastering of this, so we're getting rid of the one you had, and now here's a new mastering, and that mastering sucks. Now what do? Guess what? That old one is gone.
You had no choice.
The only way to get the old one is to find the vinyl version of it, and then you have it. Okay, now I'm doing some interesting things that I want to tell you about. So you know who Patrick Leonard is?
I've heard the name.
Okay, he produced the last 3 Leonard Cohen albums.
Oh, wow.
And he produced Amused to Death with Roger Waters.
Yeah.
He's listed as the, it's Patrick Leonard with So Patrick Leonard came to me about releasing a brand new record that he has coming out on vinyl. So he went to Bob Ludwig, the legendary mastering engineer,
Right.
and said, Bob, I want you to master this for vinyl for me. Can you talk me through the process? And Bob said, no, talk to Michael Fremer. He knows more about it now than I do. Let me tell you what that does for me. That, to me, I float in the air from that. It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
for
that you know
Bob
as much
Ludwig.
as Bob Ludwig.
And I don't.
Or more.
I don't, but I know how to do it.
You know the theory behind it.
Yeah. So that's
He knows
great.
how to do it.
Yeah, so I have the lacquers at this show
Wow.
of Patrick's new record.
No.
Chris Bellman cut them 2 days ago and said, where do you want the acetates? I said, send them to the show.
Wow.
I'll play them for people so people can hear it.
No.
If you like the Muse to death, you will like this new Patrick Leonard record.
Wow.
I promise you.
You're gonna play the audition at this weekend?
Yeah. And then on top of that, as long as you're asking. And if you
I'm
weren't
asking,
when I went
asking.
to Munich, and the guy from Nagra said, I'm putting the camera on you. Tell me about yourself. Tell people a little. So I did, and they posted it, and all the comments said, "Oh, Fremer, give him a camera. All he'll do is talk about himself." Well, that's what they asked me to talk about myself. Who am I going to talk about? So anyway, I went to a piano recital at a piano showroom, and in walks Rufus Reed. You know Rufus Reed, very well-known bass player. He walks in, and that wasn't expected. It was supposed to be just a bunch of a young man walks in with him, a 20-year-old kid, and they sit down and start playing, and it was like magic. It was like Bill Evans is kind of lyrical and beautiful and fun. And I went with a friend of mine and I said, this should be recorded. We should put this out. He goes, it is being recorded. A friend of ours is engineering it in the other room, and I know the engineer. This guy does engineering for BGO, the radio station in New Jersey, and he also does stuff for the Kennedy Center. He's a really great engineer. He's engineering it. So we go backstage to meet him. His name is Duke Marcotte. Hey, Duke, how you doing? He goes, great, Michael. I want you to meet the videographer on this set. So he says, this is Michael Fremer. And without losing a beat, the videographer says, oh, WBCN, 1975.
Really?
Okay, so that record's going to come out too. Bob is mastering that also.
And who's putting these out?
My own label.
No.
And Rufus is down with it. We're paying Rufus, and we're paying everybody to do this record. It's going to come out on vinyl. It's going to be great. And then on top, one last story, just to shut this whole thing down.
Please.
So I had to go in for my colonoscopy.
Oh, good.
March
I want to hear about
20th.
this.
And I go in, and I get wheeled into the room by the anesthesiologist, which is very unusual. He's busy doing other stuff, usually an orderly or a nurse practitioner, or whatever they call him. I said, oh, so now the anesthesiologist wheels me. He says, yeah, we do everything now. I said, okay. He wheels me in. He puts me out. I wake up, and he goes, I didn't want to tell you, but I'm a big fan of yours. I watch all your videos, and I've got a turntable, and when I saw your name on the list, so I didn't want to say that to you till you woke up.
That's got to be a little weird. Because you're totally naked at this point.
Well, not really. They cover you up, and he doesn't do the procedure. It's, and then
they just make sure you're out.
And then when the doctor came in, he said, when he saw your name on the list, he
lost it. Isn't that great? Well,
It's
you have
really
contributed
great.
so much, Michael,
It's really
to this
great.
industry. It's actually very refreshing to hear you say maybe this problem's a little overblown.
It is.
That
It
young
is
people are
overblown.
coming in, especially your experience with vinyl.
Yeah.
You're speaking from experience there and saying they're out there and they're coming
and I hear
in
from
droves.
them. Yeah.
And that's not such a big problem.
No.
And some of the other issues, we see them doing it elsewhere, and we
Yeah.
can work on these issues. It's very encouraging.
You know what the problem is? To make these kids understand that if they take care of their records, they'll last forever. If they treat them badly, they'll get scratched and ruined.
Yes.
So I'm doing a seminar with some people, and it's going to be April 19th, and it's being sponsored by I can't remember the name of the company, but a company sponsoring it that does the big survey that came out about vinyl about 6 months ago. What's going on in the stores? They spoke to all kinds of people, and they're sponsoring this with a guy named Mark Feiner. He's doing communication research. Mark Feiner was my nemesis when CDs came out. He worked for Sony, and he was promoting the CD, and I was there. At this, the way this comes around is so unbelievable. He's there. I go to every one of his press conferences. Mark, the CD sounds terrible. This is a disaster, a digital disaster. And he would say, "Shut up, shut up." And now he's doing this seminar. It's a webinar that's going to be available if you want to join it.
Nice.
Certain websites have pictures of it, and you can join
Yeah.
it. And I don't know the information off the top of my head. He's going to kill me for not remembering it.
You'll have links off tracking angle,
It's,
maybe?
we're going to post something in
Sure.
a couple of days. But it's Music Watch is the name of the company that's sponsoring it.
Gotcha.
So I've got 3 people that do cleaning, different levels of record cleaning.
Right.
And we're going to talk to young people and to stores. We have over 100 stores signed up. So the stores have to be able to educate. This, talking about reaching out.
Yeah.
We want the stores to educate the customers who come in to buy the records and show them how to take a record out of a sleeve and
Yeah.
put it back. Don't pinch it by the edges and all these different things. How to handle their records. And if you do that, records will last longer than any other format.
Than us.
Yeah, than us, especially us. And then before you go, you can sell your records for a lot of money and live out the last couple of years of your life in luxury. That's my plan.
Is that your theory?
That's my
Is that
plan.
what
Not
you-
yet. I'm not doing it yet. But
Do you have a bag with you of, because you must have some really valuable
I
stuff.
got ridiculous records.
You're not selling them yet.
And it's like the records I didn't think were that collectible.
No.
Like, this kid that writes for me, he's really into this too. And he calls me one day and says, "Do you have a copy of The Cure Disintegration?"
Yeah.
I go, "Yeah, I've got, when it came out, I got a promo copy with the 8x10 glossy." He goes, "That record in mid shape is $100. Not as a promo, just a regular copy." I thought that was a $5 record. No, it's what I've got on the shelves is pretty crazy. So
I'm going to come visit you someday, and we're going to dig through that stack, and we're going to see what those
and you're
things
not
are really
going to take
worth.
any. Yeah, one record is missing. I can't find it. It's driving me crazy. So you want to know what it is?
No. what are you
Dark Side
missing?
of the Moon. The last remaster was done. Well, 2 remasters ago. It was done by Doug Sachs, who's passed away, and Kevin Gray. So the 2 of them collaborated, which very rarely happens. So they mastered it, and then RTI did a test pressing of it. Record technology in Camarillo, California. But it wasn't pressed by RTI, it was pressed by Record Industry, I think, in the Netherlands, or by some other pressing plant. But I have a test pressing from RTI, it's like only a couple of copies of that. And it's disappeared. Oh, can't find it. I have some ideas who may have snitched it from me. Or it's there, I'll find it. Things disappear for years at a time.
Are you like the former director of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame used to do listening sessions? They said, go ahead and pick out whatever you want. Do not put a record back. Just leave it here.
That's what
I will put it. You take it out if you want, but don't put it back.
That's right, because if it goes in the wrong place, you never find it. Or
Never.
sometimes a record goes between a spine of a open-up jacket, and 20 years later, oh, there's that record. It happens.
Well, good luck with that. I hope you'd find that. Boy, I'd love to hear that
And
one.
if I don't, so what? I got so many.
How many DSOTMs do you have? Do you think?
I got that, and I'm not that big a fan of the record. The best one, to me, by the way, is the original Mobile Fidelity. As much as they hate me, but
50th anniversary this year. They just put a big package out,
I know.
right? I mean,
too expensive, and I don't know what condition the tape is in, and I don't know what they cut it from.
it's from the original master, which is only 50 years old. They don't tell you that.
Exactly.
But yeah.
Exactly. And it could be in good shape, the original master. Depends.
You think?
It all depends.
Really?
Yeah.
Doesn't
Depends on the
disintegrate
tape.
with time?
It's like Scotch 111, the original acetate tape that the Blue Notes are done on. That's as good as new.
Really?
It's amazing. Yeah.
I'm
The later
amazed.
Mylar tape is with the
Okay.
stretch and the flaking and all those other issues. But
Wow.
the Scotch 111, you listen to their early Buddy Holly albums, which did not disintegrate in the fire, by the way.
Oh.
I'm going to go to Iron Mountain in a couple of weeks.
Oh, wow.
And they're going to show me all these tapes that supposedly were burnt up in the Universal fire that were not burnt up in the fire.
Wow.
I'm going to see them in the flesh.
And your vinyl also sounds just as good as the day you bought it, right?
I think so. Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't deteriorate over
If
time.
you play it carefully and clean it right.
Clean it.
Yeah, absolutely. If you take care of your records, they will outlive you and will sound as good, if not better, than when you got them, because your system will improve. So they'll sound better. Because you get a better cartridge, a better needle, or better.
I think we have a slogan here. Take care of your records and they will outlive Michael Fremer.
I agree with that quote, and I will wholeheartedly endorse it.
Thank you for taking the time.
Sure, man.
Enjoy. Get some food here and say hi to some folks.
I will. I hope
Don't walk away with my mic. I gotta say goodbye
Oh,
here.
that's right. That happens all the
Thank
time.
you, Michael.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Thomas. Great to
Appreciate
see you again. I'll see you next year.
If not before.
If we're all here. Okay, if
Thank
not
you.
before. Okay.
It's Thomas Mulready from Cool Cleveland here at AXPONA 2023.